Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Courtney Ryan, and today we're going to be going over 5 signs of dating burnout. Dating should be fun, it should be intellectually stimulating, and something that you generally enjoy. So if you're at a point where your dating life is none of those things, it might be time to take a step back, and this might be the video for you. Because the truth is that our romantic relationships can be closely tied to the state of our mental health. So if your dating life sucks, while I really hope this video helps and sheds light on what you might be experiencing. One study found that 78% of adults ages 18 to 54 have experienced online dating burnout. So after watching, let me know down in the comments if you are a part of that 78%. I would love to just get a conversation going, and just honestly sharing your experiences, thoughts, perspectives can help you feel less alone, to know that there are other people going through it too. So I really want this video to be something that helps you, but also something that makes you feel less alone and isolated. So one sign of dating burnout is that dating starts to feel like a chore, and you're not even having any fun anymore. Swiping, messaging, scheduling a time to meet up might start to feel like another job. It can start to feel like too much work instead of being something that actually makes you excited, that you're genuinely looking forward to. You might dread the thought of sitting across from another stranger and repeating the same surface level questions you've already talked about on a million other dates before this one. And if you're an introvert, multiply that times 10. From a fellow introvert here, I feel your pain on that one. But shoot, you might even have a little thought in the back of your head saying, I hope they cancel, or fingers crossed they cancel, which honestly feels bad to say out loud, but I've even experienced this with other things outside of dating. Normally though, I end up having fun, and I'm glad that I ended up going. So that's another little positive thing to keep in mind as well. But maybe you're only experiencing some of those things that I just mentioned, and in that case, take a closer look. What exactly is making dating feel like a chore to you? Is it that you aren't actually into the people that you're going on dates with, and you're just kind of going because you feel like you have to, or because that's your only option? Or maybe are you fatigued by being the only one putting in effort, or scheduling dates with all these women, only to have it not work out in the end, which leaves you then feeling really deflated or exhausted? And this might look different for all of you, but I would really suggest trying to pinpoint what is causing you to feel overwhelmed or not excited, or again, like dating is a chore, so you can try to find a better solution. And while we're on the topic of dating burnout, something that might help you is going to therapy. Big thank you to BetterHelp for sponsoring today's video. Is dating or something else interfering with your happiness or preventing you from achieving your goals? Regardless of if you have a clinical mental health issue like depression or anxiety, or if you're going through a hard time, therapy can give you tools that will help. And that's why I'm so excited to tell you about today's sponsor, BetterHelp. BetterHelp's mission is to make therapy more affordable and more accessible, which is an important mission because finding a therapist can be really difficult, especially when you're limited to the options in your area. BetterHelp is a platform that makes finding a therapist easier because it's online, it's remote, and by filling out a few questions, BetterHelp can match you to a professional therapist in as little as a few days. It's so easy to sign up and get matched with a therapist. There's a link down in my description. Clicking that link helps support this channel, but it also gets you 10% off of your first month of BetterHelp, so you can connect with a therapist and see if it helps you. And because finding a therapist is a little like dating, if you don't really fit with that therapist, which is a common thing with therapy, you can easily switch to a different therapist for free without stressing about insurance, who's in your network, or anything like that. So if you're struggling, consider online therapy with BetterHelp. Get 10% off of your first month at betterhelp.com/Courtney Ryan. That's betterhelp.com/Courtney Ryan. And I've also linked them down below in the description. Thank you again, BetterHelp, for supporting this channel. The next sign is that you're losing hope. Taking it a step further than my last point here, where dating feels like a chore or feels overwhelming or like too much work, you might have reached a point where you're feeling like all hope is lost and you will never find someone. When you lose hope altogether, it makes sense as to why then you feel burnt out or why you're struggling to be excited about it. Hope is kind of the thing that keeps you going. But there could be many different reasons why you might be at a point where you're feeling a little bit hopeless. One could be that you've had your heart broken from a prior relationship. Another one is you've experienced rejection. Maybe you aren't enjoying your time with the people that you're dating. Maybe you're consuming too much content on social media that makes you feel like there are no good men or women left out there and everyone is doomed. But dating with this mindset that I'm going to be alone forever, I'm never going to find someone that either I like or who likes me back, feeling like you have to settle for someone that you're not compatible with because it's your only option. All of these things can lead to you having a scarcity mindset when you're dating, which is not a good thing that I've talked about in many videos before. So I'll link those below for you guys if you want a little more info on how to date with an abundance mindset versus a scarcity mindset. My last point there about social media and being doomed is a great segue into my next point here, which is feeling angry or bitter. So feeling angry or bitter about dating or towards men and women as a whole can stem from a sense of frustration or disappointment, maybe exhaustion, caused by repeated negative experiences in your dating life or the dating world altogether. When you've been through a series of unsuccessful or fulfilling relationships or encounters, it can wear you down emotionally and make you more prone to these negative emotions, aka feeling bitter, feeling angry, feeling resentful, all the negative feelings that are not good ways to feel when you're dating or looking for a significant other. And even if you haven't necessarily experienced this yourself firsthand, just exposure to this repeatedly on social media or constantly consuming toxic content can make you feel this way too. I mean, sheesh, if you're watching negative, hateful, bitter content all day, every day, how do you think that's going to make you feel in return? Probably not good, but these feelings may manifest as anger, bitterness, or resentment towards the dating process or the people that you're interacting with. I think it's really important for people to work through these negative emotions and be able to develop a really healthy and respectful attitude towards dating and potential partners. This might involve therapy, self-reflection, personal growth, but ultimately it's essential to approach dating with a positive and open mindset in order to form a healthy and fulfilling relationship. I mean, I wouldn't want to be with someone who hated women or who thought all women sucked, the same way a lot of you guys don't want to be with a woman who says she hates men or thinks that all men are trash. That's not a healthy way to go into dating, so I think it's important to try to work on this and understand why it is you're feeling so angry and bitter about dating. And look, I get it. Maybe you were with someone who broke your heart and you feel like all hope is lost. Maybe you're feeling a mix of some of these things on my list today. Maybe you're feeling hopeless plus angry and bitter, or maybe one feeling is leading to another and it just feels like too much for you. I get that. But I think it is so important to work through that and figure out the root of why you're feeling that way in order to come to a solution, in order to move forward. The next sign of dating burnout is that you start to neglect self-care. This dating burnout can consume a significant amount of your emotional and mental energy. So when you're constantly focused on these disappointments or the challenges of dating, it can be easy to overlook or start to kind of deprioritize your own well-being. This can result in neglecting basic self-care practices like exercise, getting enough sleep, making sure you're eating well, or engaging in activities in general that bring you joy. Maybe you've noticed that you've completely stopped doing everything that you like. Maybe you haven't been doing your hobbies or your passions, or you're falling behind at work, or you're just feeling a little bit deflated altogether. Dating burnout can make you feel drained and unmotivated, which makes it even harder to find the energy to take care of yourself. And that's number one priority over all of this. If your dating life is making you neglect yourself altogether, it's time to take a step back and reprioritize. So if this sounds like you, I would encourage you to consciously make an effort to prioritize self-care, to recharge, and regain a sense of balance in your life. Make sure that you're not getting all consumed with this process or these overly negative emotions or this dating burnout altogether, and really start to reprioritize yourself and make sure that you're dedicating time to you. Actually, while we're talking about it, go work out after you watch this video, because I guarantee it will at least make you feel a little bit better. And my last point there leads me into this one, in that dating is starting to take a toll on your mental health in a negative way. This point really kind of ties together everything we've talked about so far in the video. Maybe you're really struggling with rejection, or all the things on my list today are piling up and it's taking a toll on your mental health altogether. The repeated disappointments, rejections, or unfulfilling experiences in dating can lead to overwhelming feelings of sadness, frustration, and lowered self-esteem. You might feel like you're not worthy or you're not good enough. All of these things can then lead to increased anxiety, stress, or even symptoms of depression. Dating burnout can really create a sense of hopelessness and cynicism about relationships, making it really difficult to maintain a positive outlook. This can lead to a negative cycle where you might have negative beliefs about yourself, about others, about the whole dating process, which further impacts your mental well-being, which I think has really led to a lot of people falling into these very negative echo chambers online, where it's just talking horribly about men and women and just confirming all these negative thoughts that you think in your head when you see another thing that is so negative online, and you get trapped in this bubble, and then you get chronically online and you can't seem to get out of it, and you just fall into this cycle of continuing to feed the sadness and the anger and the resentment, which I don't necessarily think is a good thing. I think it's one thing to know that you're not alone in feeling the way that you feel, but I think it's important to focus on a solution to that problem rather than just sitting and wallowing in it and just having a victim mentality and taking no accountability. And yeah, there are some things that are out of your control, but dwelling on that doesn't really make it any easier. And I also just think there can be an excessive pressure to find a partner, especially if you feel this societal or personal expectations weighing really heavily on you. This pressure can then amplify that stress and anxiety that you were already feeling, causing you to feel even worse. Now, I also want to say this and make this very clear too. I don't know everything, and I certainly don't have all the answers here because I don't know each of your situations in detail, but I do know a few things that have the ability to help with dating burnout that I want to share with all of you today. Because what is the point of listing all of the negatives and the problems if we don't also offer the positives and some solutions? The first thing that might help is to just take a freaking break. Sometimes you have to take a step back, reevaluate, reprioritize, and recharge. This might be different for all of you. Maybe some of you need a month of no dates type of break. Some of you might need some time off of the dating apps. Maybe you need forever off of the dating apps, or to just limit the amount of time that you spend swiping. So if you went through this list on my video today and you're like, yep, check, I'm experiencing all of those things, I think it can really be helpful to just take a step back, give yourself a little bit of grace, give yourself some time. I'm not saying you need to wait until you're fully healed in order to date. That's impossible. You will never get there. I'm sorry, hate to burst the bubble, but I think it's okay to take a break and give yourself some time to really rethink and reprioritize. The next tip is to nourish the friendships and other relationships in your life. This could be something you carve out more time for while you take a break from dating too. But I think it is important that you make sure you're still nourishing the other friendships and relationships in your life as well. This can help you enjoy the process a little bit more and not lose yourself completely. Again, as I mentioned earlier in the video with neglecting self-care or just things that bring you joy, don't push away all the people in your life that you love or just the things that you enjoy too because you're feeling these really negative emotions about dating. What I'm trying to say is make sure that you're still enjoying your life. The next thing that could help is to be more intentional. What are your deal breakers and non-negotiables? Are you going on dates with people out of a place of desperation or intention? Because I'll tell you this, dating out of desperation or that scarcity mindset can absolutely be a factor causing your dating burnout. Feeling a pressure or rushing to complete an imaginary timeline that you've made for yourself will most likely stress you out and lead to poor choices anyways. So take it slow and steady wins the race. Be more intentional and selective with the people that you're going on a date with. Of course, not telling you to be overly picky or to look for the perfect person. Newsflash, that doesn't exist. Be intentional about the things that actually matter. Again, think about your deal breakers here and your non-negotiables. Now, with that being said, be realistic, of course, as I always recommend, and remember that there is no perfect person out there for you. We're not looking for perfect, we're looking for compatibility in a realistic way. The next thing that could help is to try something different. Maybe do something different for a date that is less familiar to you. Do something that you've never done before that you'd be excited to try. If you're going to the same places or the same dates or talking about the same things over and over and over, it's gonna start to feel a little humdrum, and understandably so. So don't be afraid to switch it up. Maybe do something that you've never done and that your date's never done so you can experience something new together and create a little fun connection there. And also when it comes to conversations and just keeping things interesting on dates, I've done some videos on how to do that, how to keep things interesting, conversation tips, questions to ask, and things like that that can help you just kind of, again, switch things up a little bit so it's not so mundane and repetitive. So I will link those down below so you guys can go check them out. But that's all I have today for 5 signs of dating burnout. If you like this video or found it helpful, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel to be in the loop for when I release new content. If you haven't already, be sure to follow me over on Instagram at Courtney Christine Ryan. I love connecting with all of you guys over on there as well. Let me know down in the comments, have you experienced these things? What are some other signs of dating burnout that you've personally experienced? Or what are some things that signaled to you, maybe I need to take a little bit of a break? Would just love to get a helpful conversation going down in the comments and share your perspectives and experiences. As always, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all next time.